Final video of week number 3. Already we've talked about, just building a solid scriptural foundation about teaching. So we've looked at the Word, we've found out what the Word teaches about teaching the Word. Then we looked in and dove into preparing a message, how just to structure it, how to think through it, how to be ready to go. And now we're going to be talking about delivering a message for kids. But what we're really talking about is just, man, anytime you're leading anything, anytime you're emceeing, anytime you've got a group of kids together, and it's bigger than a small group. So we're talking about over 8 or 10. And you've got to communicate in such a way that you keep their attention. Here are some pointers that I've discovered that I've learned from the other Kid Life pastors and just from classroom teaching. Here are some things that you can do that, for the most part, keeps their attention and keeps them on point. We can apply this again to the messages that we're going to deliver, but also to just anytime we're leading anything, anytime we're emceeing, or some of this works in small groups, especially if they get a little bit bigger. So again, you can subtitle this time together, how do I keep kids interested in what I'm saying? And that really is the challenge, because honestly, your energy level is the number one factor that will determine whether or not kids in a large group are going to listen to you. If you get up on stage and you talk like this, and you don't vary your cadence, and you don't talk quickly, and you don't talk like you're excited, but you just kind of talk nonchalant and even chill, and this is the amount of energy that you're giving to them, then they will match your energy level, and they will give this exact back to you. Even worse than that, those kids who have energy but realize that you're not going to match them, they will begin to expend their energy elsewhere. Okay? Y'all seeing that? Simply by the way that I talk, I changed the energy level. And so, again, I talked monotone. My voice didn't change. It didn't go up in tone. It didn't change in volume. It just stayed the same. And also, I talked very slowly. And so when we talk about having high energy, so when you talk about stepping onto the stage, and you want to gain control over that crowd immediately, then you have to be up here. Okay, wherever they're at, you have to be higher than them and invite them to come with you. Because some days they're going to have energy and some days they're not, but it doesn't matter because you have to have tons more energy than them the moment you step on stage. Because that creates excitement, that creates energy, that creates anticipation of what you have to say. My wife, I love this. She never realized she was doing this, but it was such a good way to set the tone. For the first 30 times that she emceed or spoke at Kid Life, she would hop on stage, and the first thing she would do is she would just take the microphone and she'd be like, "Woo!" Now, that sounds silly, but the crazy thing is it worked. It set her energy level high, and it got the kids excited. Who is this crazy woman that is wooing at me? And so you can just tell the difference between when I was sitting back in my chair and I was talking monotone. You probably could care less what I had to say. But now, as I talk and my voice is a little bit higher, and it's a higher key, my pacing is much faster. You begin to feel the excitement. And so those are the two things. We're not talking about yelling, because some MCs will just get up there and start screaming at the kids. But that's not what we're talking about. Just the moment that you step on stage, you're going to have energy, and your energy is going to be most communicated by your tone of voice. So you're going to talk a little bit higher than you normally do. You're going to talk a little bit faster than you normally do, and the kids are going to be drawn in. And so for me, I got to tell you, anytime I'm speaking, whether it's in Big Life, Kid Life, or wherever I'm at, I always know about the first 3 sentences that I'm going to say word for word, and I have practiced those over and over and over again. So the moment I step on stage, I know exactly what I'm going to say. Now, I've done it enough that I can pretty much wing it now. The moment I figure out what the topic is or what the scene is, whether I'm emceeing Big Life or whether I'm emceeing Kid Life or whether I'm speaking, I already know, for the most part, the 3 sentences I'm going to say. But it's because I spent years scripting the first 3 sentences that I was going to say word for word, so that I knew I didn't have to think about it, I didn't have to worry about it. I was just, boom, there it is. So again, the number one thing that you can do to keep kids listening and interested in what you're saying is that when you step on stage, you show up with high energy, not screaming at them, but having an energetic and excited tone, and by speaking more quickly than you normally do. And that sets the high energy scale. Now, here's the next thing that you do. Okay? I want you to listen very carefully. The next thing that you do to draw them into what you're saying is you create an energy roller coaster. Now, do you see what I just did? I went from high energy, fast, speaking at a higher clip, both as far as a higher key and more words, and then I brought it down. And when I do that, you all lean forward because you want to know what comes next. And so we have that same ability that we talk hurried, we talk in high register, talking in our face, and then we bring it down and we talk in our chest. And what that does is it creates this vacuum in the room, and it draws everybody into you, okay? And it increases their engagement because they want to know what you're going to say next. And then I say the thing that's important, making this point. And then I go right back to it and I say, and then this is going to happen, and then we're going to do this, and all of a sudden, boom, we're back up. And then guess what? After I'm going to talk like this and talk energetic for a while, then I'm going to be like, come down and say, guys, but do you want to know what really happened? And you can see how I do that, how I just switch that volume, how I lean in, even I step forward. And they begin to get that. All of a sudden, fast. They're high energy, and then boom, and I create that vacuum, and it literally sucks them in. So again, the first one, high energy. And I do that by the register in which I speak and the rate at which I speak. And then number 2, I'm going to create an energy roller coaster where I'm doing that, and I want to start high energy, but then I bring it down. And I draw them in, and I make the important point. And then I go right back up, and I start doing it again. Okay? So again, if you do those 2 things, all of a sudden you will have them on a string. They will follow you anywhere because they're excited to know where you're going to take them, and then they're drawn in to hear the point. And then they're excited again, and then they're drawn in to get the point. So again, those first 2 are huge as far as drawing those kids in. Number 3 is this: use questions purposefully and ask for responses. So again, as you're speaking, as you're communicating, don't ask a question and then keep talking. If you're going to ask a question, build it up, and then ask for responses. So for instance, I've seen people just run over kids, but you got so what I'll do is if I want the kids to respond, I'll kind of begin to build it. Okay guys, I want you to think about something. Think about the time that you've been really, really sad. And now when you've got a time in your mind, just put your finger to your forehead. That way I know you've got one. So again, I know I'm going to ask a question, and so I give them a chance to think about it. And it also slows it down. Remember, we're changing pace. Fast, slow. Let them really simmer it. Let them think about it. And then we'll go fast again. And so if I'm going to ask a question and I want a response, I want to build up to it so that they know. And I say, guys, okay. Either I'll say, okay, well, who's got an answer? Who knows? When's the time you felt really sad? Or I'll say, guys, I'm going to count down from 3. When I get to 0, you're going to scream out a time that you were really, really sad. 3, 2, 1. And then they're going to scream it. But again, whether I'm going to take individual responses, whether I'm going to have them all scream it out, I want to build up to it. Guys, I've been thinking, I want you to think about something. Just I let them ponder because I'm going to ask you for your response. Bam, then I do it. Now here's something else. You want to mirror or explain the response that you want. So for instance, if I ask, man, how many of you love Jesus with everything you are? And I raise my hand, well, what response am I going to get? If while I'm asking a question, I raise my hand, then they're going to respond positively by raising their hand. Now, another thing that I'll do is I'll ask a question, and then I won't get the response that I want. I say, guys, we're not in class. We're not going to raise our hand. Guys, I said we're going to do it by cheering, by getting loud. Who wants to love Jesus with everything they've got? Then they go crazy because, again, I want to I want to let them know the response that I want. Guys, by screaming, by hollering, I want you to tell me, do you love Jesus? But again, in my mind, I'm going to know the response that I want, and I'm going to inform them in the midst of it or beforehand how I want them to respond. And if I don't get the response that I want, if they kind of miss that I even asked them a question, I'm going to ask it again, making it clear the response that I need. Because again, the more that they respond, the more that they're engaged, the better the connection is. Okay? But I will say this. I see young speakers, young MCs doing this a lot, and that is because I can't naturally get a response just by the way that I communicate, by telling a funny story or by asking a response. I kind of get to where I overuse the, "Kid Life, I can't hear you, do you?" and re-asking the question and get them to get into their chair. Don't overuse that. Don't overuse, "Kid Life, I said, do you love Jesus?" And that's, again, whatever question it is. If I don't overuse it because it begins to drag, they don't really know what they're screaming about. They just know that you ask them to scream more. And sometimes we just use that as a crutch to feel like we're connected with the audience rather than becoming better speakers so that we don't have to do that more. So again, high energy from the moment we step on stage. And then we're going to create this energy roller coaster to where we're fast. We slow it down and we talk low. High and fast, slow and low. Okay? And we just, because again, it gets them engaged and energized, and then it brings them in. And we're just going to create that. And then third, we're going to use questions purposefully. Because again, we want them engaged, we want them involved, we want them thinking. But we're going to tell them the response that we want, and we're going to make sure that they give it to us. The fourth thing is, wait for it, is that we're going to use silence purposefully. You see, sometimes my choice to wait to say something can have an effect on the audience. For instance, if I say, "Guys, can I tell you something?" And they say, "Yeah." "Well, I've been thinking." Well, all of a sudden they want to know what I'm thinking, and if I'll use silence and just wait a second, they'll draw in to hear what I'm saying. It's the same thing as the emotion, the energy roller coaster, but silence can be powerful and effective. And if all of a sudden I'm going and I notice that there's distraction in the room, I'm like, "Guys, bring it in." And then I just wait. All of a sudden they realize that nothing's happening. They'll center, they'll focus. But again, number 4, I want to use silence purposefully, because silence can fill a space as much as words can. Silence can draw an audience in as much as words can. So again, high energy from the beginning. Create an energy roller coaster. Use questions purposefully, and use silence purposefully. 5, the thing that you really want to think about as you're up there emceeing, as you're up there teaching a Bible story, is know what's funny to kids. Okay? You got to know what's funny to the kids. Now, here's the biggest thing. You laugh, they will laugh. For the most part. If you tell a joke that you think is funny and you laugh and it's even halfway funny, they will join you in the humorous moment. I mean, they will join you to laugh at it, even if it's just kind of funny, because you think it's funny, because you're laughing at it. And so honestly, I come across as funnier than I am because I tell 85% of my jokes for me. I mean, I honestly don't care if anybody else laughs at them. I think they're funny, and so I tell them. And when I laugh, people join me in my funny moment. So again, if you laugh, they laugh. Here's something else you need to know. Pee and poo are always funny. Always funny. If you can make a pee-pee joke, and you can make a poo-poo joke, and you don't feel cheap and dirty for doing it, it is always funny. It just is. And so if all else fails, just say pee-pee and see what happens. It is hilarious. Okay? Here's another thing. Kids love slapstick humor. I mean, if you watch these shows that are made for school-aged kids, people are falling down all the time. People are running into things all the time. People are getting hit with all kinds of things. People are dropping all kinds of things because this age loves slapstick. Now, I'm going to tell you something, okay? Sometimes it hurts to be a slapstick comic, but sometimes it's worth it. Now, again, falling down, dropping something you didn't mean to, getting something thrown at you, like these are all kinds of things that if you can pull them off, they are hilarious to this age group. Number 4, funny pictures are funny. One time I made some New Year's resolutions and I made a picture of my son jumping onto the earth because a running joke in kid life had been that he loved to jump off things. I made a picture with Adam Roth, one of the pastors at New Life Church, his face connected to a bunny. But again, even if you just find photos, funny pictures are funny. When I spoke at Cabot for VBS, I showed a picture of my 2 kids, and Finn had this wide, gaping face going, and then Anna looked about as sassy as you could get. And so just by popping that picture up, it connected them to me, but then it was just funny. It was a funny picture. And so being funny most of the time is good. So again, man, high energy the moment you step on the stage, create that energy roller coaster. 3, use questions purposefully. 4, use silence purposefully. 5, know what's funny and be funny as much as you can be funny. Number 6 is reading the crowd, the final frontier of speaking. Now again, this is a challenge because most of the time when we're first up there, we're just so concerned about communicating the content, that we forget to look out and see how the crowd is responding to the content. So here's a few things you might see. If you look out there and the crowd is absolutely bored, well, then you want to immediately engage them, asking them to say something meaningful, fun, or unexpected. Just say, okay, guys, hey, real quickly, I'm going to count down from 3, and you're going to say poo-poo in 3, 2, 1, poo-poo. Okay, no, guys, for real, I need you engaged, I need you involved. You're going to say poo-poo in 3, 2, 1, poo-poo, and all of a sudden they're cracking up, they're funny, and they're back in, and you go back to sharing your story, but you talk faster. And you talk higher, and you get them engaged because you're losing them if they look bored. Number 2, you might see them and they're starting to get rambunctious. That means they're losing their focus. They're all over the place. They're energetically opposing what you're trying to do. In that case, you use yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? All right, guys. Man, whatever's distracting you, I need your eyes up this direction. I need your eyes here. I need you to look here because this is so important. Sometimes even, I'm pretty engaging, but sometimes I have to draw that attention back, get their eyes back up here, and then say what needs to be said. And then again, pick it back up, high energy. But again, the next thing you might see is you might just see that they're distracted, that all kinds of things are going on. Again, hey guys, let me have your eyes up here. Man, if anything there is distracting you, I need you just to put it up. If it's your Kid Life cash, put it under your leg. If it's your Bible, put it down on the ground. Whatever's distracting you, I need you just to put it down and look up this direction. So again, because I'm watching the crowd, and trying to draw them up. And the final thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to ask for a final response. Hey guys, man, our main point, we've been talking about this. Now I need to know this. How many of you are willing to put others first this week? How many of you are willing to give that you might truly live? How many are willing to serve someone around you so that you can experience the life that God has for you? Let me see those hands in the air. Awesome. Guys, let me pray for you. But again, I'm asking for that final response. So here it is, from the stage. High energy the moment you arrive. 2, create an energy roller coaster where you're high and fast and you're low and slow. And you just keep going up, and that's going to keep drawing them in. 3, use questions purposefully. 4, use silence purposefully. Number 5, know what's funny and be as funny as you can be. Number 6, read the crowd. And number 7, ask for a final response. Ask them if they're in. The thing that you're challenging them to do, ask them if they're in. Now here's the deal. I'm so glad that this video with the contents out of the way, and I'm excited about this Saturday spending some time with you where we're going to get to take these 6 points and really put them into practice. You're going to get a chance to try it, and then you're going to get some feedback so that you can get better at delivering messages. So again, I'll see you this weekend.